Hello my fellow Brickheads, it is I, Galaxy of Bricks here with another Lego video for you. And today we are not going to be looking at a set review in particular, but we are going to be doing a much requested and hotly anticipated sequel to my debut video, which was my top 5 bad guys in Lego Star Wars form, by doing my top 5 good guys in Lego Star Wars form. Now, the opinions in this video and my previous video where I discussed my bad guys are my own opinions, guys, you know. So if any of your favourite minifigures don't feature on this video or the previous one, don't worry, they're still great characters, but these are just my own personal ones that I myself like. So there's no right or wrong, it's just an opinion. So without any further ado, let's just get into it, and we'll kick things off with this guy. Now this is the character Moroff from Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. He's a Gigoran who is part of Saw Gerrera's partisans featured on the planet Jeddah. He's a mercenary who goes from battlefield to battlefield, and he pretty much just likes to fight, basically. Now, he's a heavy gunner, so he carries a really heavy, hefty blaster like this, and I think the backpack is something to do with his ammunition. He's very, just looking at the guy, just bear with me one moment, you know, just looking at the guy, he's very Wookiee-esque, you know. He's not a Wookiee, and as from what I've read and what I've seen, they aren't related to Wookiees in any way, shape or form, but they have the presence of a Wookiee. And I think what I like about this guy is, even though the set he's featured in, which is set 75172, the Y-Wing Starfighter, released in 2017, he actually isn't featured with a Y-Wing at any point. What I like is the fact that you're getting a nice background character in a reasonably priced set at the time when it was released in 2017, and he's one of the few alien characters in Star Wars that what I like about him is the fact that he's so unique and he's so different, and that just adds to the appeal of Star Wars aliens. Is you look at a character and think, oh, I like that, who is that? And then you can look it up on the internet, and you can look it up on Wikipedia and things like that, and the Star Wars database and things like that, and you get rough information. And Moroff, for me, was quite an interesting character when I picked him up in Lego form, and I think the fact that he's an exclusive to the Y-Wing, so he's not featured in any other set, I like that, and he's definitely worth picking up. You can get hold of the 2017 Y-Wing Starfighter on eBay, you can get it on Bricklink, and you will pay a little bit extra for it because it's nearly 5 years old now, but definitely worth picking up just for this guy alone. And you, obviously, you know, you'll get your Y-Wing Starfighter pilot, you get a Stormtrooper as well, you get Admiral Raddus, which is another exclusive to this set, and you get an Astromech, so definitely worth picking up. And I think Moroff is one of those characters who, his fate is left ambiguous after Jeddah, so we don't know if he survived or if he died or not. And maybe there's an option for Lego to do another set with him in, which is related to Rogue One, and even for Star Wars themselves to flesh out this character at a later date, maybe in a book or a comic or something like that. So yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye out for him. Now, my next character that I'm a big fan of is this guy, and that is Admiral Emmett, and he features in the Last Jedi set, Defensive Crate, which is set number 75202. He's one of the Resistance characters that you get with Poe Dameron and a Rebel Trooper, a Resistance Trooper, and he is the man responsible for leading the trench defense against the First Order assault. So, for those of you who have not seen Star Wars The Last Jedi, or have yet to see it, there are going to be spoilers ahead, but as Poe Dameron is leading the speeders out to stop the walkers, Emmett is on the trenches leading his troops and organising the defence. And the fun fact is, he's actually mislabelled on the box as an admiral when his rank is actually a general. He features in the background of The Force Awakens, and he's a lower ranked. I think he's a major or a colonel. And then when all the Resistance leadership sadly perish at the hands of the First Order, he's promoted, and he's one of the last ranked officers who has the ability to lead in the Battle of Crate. Ultimately, the defence is for nothing, but he's still there, and I think he gets off Crate, I'm not entirely sure. But he's got a very kind of Donald Sutherland look to him, hasn't he? You know, I'm not entirely certain Donald Sutherland played him in the Star Wars films, but again, he's got that sort of long grey hair, he's got the beard, you know, he features a gunmetal grey blaster rifle, which is very nice, and then he's got the micro binoculars as well, you know, so if you're going to do your defensive crates, mocks and dioramas, you definitely need a General Emmett to stand at the top of the parapet as your men are all lined up and facing the oncoming First Order. He's mentioned in the films and in the novelisation of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. He is featured in that. He was a rebel in comics and media, so he knows Princess Leia, he knows Han Solo, and he knows Luke Skywalker, so he's definitely worth having in your collection, just for the defensive crate set itself being a very good set from The Last Jedi. I know a lot of the sets in recent times haven't been as good from the newer films, but the defensive crate is definitely worth it, and this guy is an exclusive to that set. So if you're doing the Resistance Army, get General Emmett. He's a very good character to pick up. And that finally takes us on to number 3 in this top 5 video, and that is this guy, and that is General Anton Merrick, who is featured in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He is call signed as Blue Leader, so he leads Blue Squadron in the Battle of Scarif. He's also the highest ranked Rebel pilot on Yavin 4 and the Rebel base. For those of you who are not familiar with this guy, he is seen leading his squadron at the Battle of Scarif, where they go onto the planet to help Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor and Rogue One get the Death Star plans, and unfortunately he meets a very grisly fate. General Merrick does not survive the battle, which explains his absence from A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, because a character of such a high rank and such a skill set as a pilot, he would be invaluable to the rebels, but sadly he doesn't make it at all at the end of the battle. So yeah, now he comes with a blaster pistol, which is very nice, and his hairpiece I'm not familiar with seeing in any other Lego set, but it looks very, very good, and it's very reminiscent of the character that you see. And also he comes with his own Rebel pilot helmet as well. Just give you a bit of it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so he comes with his own helmet, and he does have a dual molded face. So you've got his sort of standard, it's a bit of a grin, and then you've got his very long smirky smile there as well. And if you pop his helmet on, he looks like that. And in a weird sort of way, it's almost a throwback to the older days of Lego Star Wars pilots in the Rebels, where they didn't have a visor piece that you get now with a lot of the Rebel characters. They have one headpiece where it's a visor over the eyes, and then there's the chin strap. The older Rebel ones have, when they were first released, they were just a Lego head with a helmet. There was no visor, so that, in a weird sort of way, this is kind of a throwback to the older days of Lego Star Wars sets, I think, and that's very, very different. It's very nice. And his helmet as well, they did something a couple of years ago in the X-Wing set that came with Big Star Glider, Luke Skywalker and a couple of astromechs, where they had a full headpiece with a visor attached to it, but it was quite clunky and it wasn't popular with a lot of Lego fans, myself included. Was not a big fan, didn't like it, it looked a bit stupid. So they've kind of gone back to the older style, which has been in existence for about 20 years or so, and it's a very nice Lego set piece. I mean, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, in my opinion. And again, the decor on his helmet is very nice. You've got all the design of it. very reminiscent. So if you're doing a Rogue Squadron, say a Rogue One build, or you're doing a Blue Squadron sort of diorama or a mock or something like that, you need to pick up General Merrick, because he's definitely worth getting, and you can only get him in one set. And I really wouldn't call it a set either, because he was released in 2018 as part of 75213, which was that year's advent calendar, and he was the exclusive minifigure for that advent calendar, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you, because I felt that with the strength of a lot of the Rogue One sets, particularly with, as I stated, with Moroff and with you know, the Y-Wing, they could have maybe done an X-Wing version, or they could have done something with General Merrick as part of it, which came as a surprise. So he's very hard to find. You can get him on Bricklink and you can get him on eBay, but you will pay quite a bit for him because he's quite an exclusive character. So if you see him, get him. Nifty little guy to have, and plus he goes out like a boss in Rogue One, so you know, I'm all for that. You know, he does his duty, he helps get the Death Star plans, and he goes out like an absolute unit. Yeah, so now we come to the final two figures on my top 5 good guys list, and much like my first video, this could have gone either way. There was a lot of pros, there was a lot of cons for both, and I did a pros and a cons list. It was a tie, and so it came down to the flip of a coin. And the end result, I'm happy either way. So, number 2 on my top 5 good guys list is this guy. And it is Lando Calrissian. But specifically, it is the young Lando Calrissian that is featured in Solo, a Star Wars story, into that, and he is released in the 75212, the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. So this version in the movie is played by actor and musician Donald Glover, or if you want his stage name, Childish Gambino, and he plays a younger version of Lando, who I like. Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, and he plays a nice sort of he plays Lando Calrissian very much mature and to the point, but with a little bit of charm. And you see it again in when he returned in Rise of Skywalker. He plays a much more mature, you know, worldly kind of wise character. But in Solo, Donald Glover's version of him is very much young. He's suave, he's charming, he's very much the foil to Han Solo. So you see how the two characters would easily clash, because they're both thinking they're hot shots. You know, they both want the Millennium Falcon, they both have lives, and they both want to try and outdo each other. And Donald Glover plays this version very well. And what I like about this guy is, it's definitely, for me, the highlight is the cape, because it's got that nice long neck piece and the long flowing cape. And those of you who collect your Marvel sets will recognise this as a darker version of Doctor Strange's cape. So Doctor Strange has a red cape, Lando Calrissian has a blue one. Now, there have been multiple versions of Lando Calrissian released in the years preceding. So the very first one we got was in Cloud City, and that was just a moustached Lando Calrissian in his blue attire and his cape, and then just the old standard flat hairpiece. And then obviously in more recent times we've had a version of him with the A-Wing, we've had a version of him in the recent update of the Millennium Falcon where he featured similar sort of attire to this. So he had the yellow and the black, but he had grey hair and a grey moustache, and that was in the Rise of Skywalker. But this is the only Lando Calrissian that I have in my collection, and I very much like him. And I think Donald Glover plays a very, very good version of Lando Calrissian. So if you've not seen it, check it out. Pick this guy up, because much like as I've discovered with this set, and with this list in particular, he's an exclusive. So you can only get him in the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. And he's definitely worth picking up because he comes with the nice silver blaster as well, similar to the one that you get with Director Krennic, and Donald Glover plays a very faithful adaptation of Lando Calrissian, and I think if you like Star Wars and you like me, you don't mind how the movies have gone in the last couple of years, definitely worth picking up. And this version in particular is one of my favourite Lando Calrissians. And now finally we come to my number one character on this list, and this is a little bit biased because, as you've seen with some of my other reviews and some of my other sets, I have a strong leaning towards this series, and I have a strong leaning towards the characters within that series. And my favourite one is this guy, and that is the Mandalorian. Though this version of the Mandalorian doesn't have his Beskar armour that he gets later in the series. This is the bog standard early episodes version of the Mandalorian, and he features in the ATST Raider set 75254, which I talked about in my previous videos, and he also features in a couple of other sets from the early Mandalorian series as well. So this is nice to have a throwback version where he's not got his powerful Beskar armour and he's just a man in Mandalorian armour, which is tough, not as tough as Beskar. He doesn't have a hair, he doesn't have a headpiece because, you know, he's the Mandalorian. We actually don't see his face very often within the series. He was released in 2019, and the set he comes in, which is the ATST Raider, is based on the Chapter 4 episode called Sanctuary, where him and Baby Yoda or Grogu are fleeing and they just want to relax, and then the bad guys come and they cause trouble in the village that they're staying in, and it's up to the Mandalorian and his companions to save everyone from the raiders who are attacking them. I'm a big Mandalorian fan, as you've seen with my Mandalorian Raider video, and you've also seen with my mentioning of a lot of other things. I'm a massive fan of the Mandalorian TV series, and this is the first Mandalorian character that I've got in Lego. I mean, I've got the recent Advent Calendar version that comes with a nice scarf and his Beskar armour, but I like this one because he's beat up, he's worn, he's weary to the world, he just wants to look after Grogu and be on his way, but other things get in his way. And I think the blaster you get with this guy is really nice as well. You know, he's definitely worth picking up. If you can still get the ATST Raider, it's a very nice set. I have it. One of my favourite Mandalorian sets. We're coming towards the end of the video now, guys. So these are my top 5 good guys in Star Wars fiction. But, again, it's just my opinion. So, if you've got any comments, questions or queries about the characters that I've reviewed today and the characters that I've looked at, drop me a comment at the bottom of the video and let me know your favourite as well, because I'm curious to see who your favourite minifigures are within the Star Wars universe on the good side. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, because if you guys don't share and subscribe, I must be doing something wrong, because it means that the content that I'm putting out you guys don't like. Also have a look at my TikTok at The Galaxy of Bricks, and also have a look at my Instagram at The Galaxy of Bricks. I will be posting up a couple of images of these guys as my top 5 good guys, and I will also be doing a quick synopsis on TikTok as well. So, stay tuned, because there will be more LEGO content coming up in the next few days. We will be looking at the comparison of the ATSTs, which I promised in my last video. This video was requested by a couple of my followers, so I decided to give this one a shot first. So don't worry, that one is on its way. Until then, guys, have a nice day, take care of yourselves, and enjoy the weekend. So, bye-bye, guys, take care.